Najib Razak's, quote, charitable acts, unquote, during his time as the Prime Minister was reciprocated and funded by another charity arm. Today, the court heard that millions intended for corporate social responsibility activities were transferred from SRC International's charitable arm, Ihsan Perdana, into Najib's personal bank accounts. By the Malaysian Insight, this is The People versus Najib Razak. Follow us into the courtroom where it all happens. I'm Patrick Teo. Najib's 18th day in the dock began rather awkwardly. The former Prime Minister arrived at the courthouse just before 9 a.m. He wore a light brown suit and a matching tie in a darker shade. As Najib was about to enter his usual elevator on the left side of the court lobby, the lift doors closed and he took a step back. He took out a handkerchief and wiped the sweat off his brow while waiting for the doors to open again, looking out of place as the cameras clicked around him. Finally, an elevator arrived and Najib and his aides entered. In the courtroom, the former Prime Minister was seen sitting at the public gallery, chatting with an aide who had earlier prepared his 2 cushions in the dock. The buzzer went off and Justice Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali entered the court. Najib made his way to his usual seat. The prosecution's 35th witness, Aslida Mazni Arshad, was back in the dock for the 3rd day. Picking up from where he left off yesterday, defense lawyer Havinderjit Singh, or Harvey, continued grilling her about KWAP's loan approval process. Today, sharply dressed in dark colors, the witness insisted that every answer she had given to Harvey during his cross-examination was her own opinion. She also maintained that she was never part of the decision-making process to approve the 4 billion ringgit loan which the fund gave to SRC. Her only role was to record minutes at the investment panel meetings. Aslida was excused from the stand soon after that, and then the lawyers started arguing over some housekeeping matters. Harvey complained that the KWAP CEO was supposed to take the stand today, but the prosecution had instead called a different witness. Attorney General Tommy Thomas retorted that it was up to the prosecution to decide who and when to call its witnesses, and added that the next court sitting would be on Friday, as agreed before Judge Colin Sequeira. This sparked another row, with the defense asserting that it had been agreed there would be no trial on Fridays so that the lawyers can attend to other matters, and Tommy telling the defense to take this trial seriously. Judge Nazlan told the lawyers to inform the court this Friday about the replacement dates for the days they took off. The 36th witness to take the stand was Aisha Ghazali, a former senior executive at Ihsan Perdana. She handled its finances and the company's CSR initiatives. Aisha told the court that between 2014 and 2015, a total of 42 million ringgit was transferred into Najib's AmBank accounts and said it was used for CSR programs. Yvonne will explain this particular money trail.
Najib appeared unusually interested in proceedings today. He was alert and watched intently as Aisha told the court that Gem Horizon, now known as Ihsan Perdana, received 50 million ringgit into their Affin Bank account in 3 tranches between December 2014 and February 2015. In those same months, 42 million ringgit was transferred into 2 AmBank accounts ending with 880 and 906. Those are Najib's personal bank accounts. Aisha said that she assumed the money transferred was for CSR programs, but wasn't clear about why she thought that. What Aisha said about the transfers matched the testimony given by AmBank Raja Chulan manager Uma Devi, who took the stand a couple of weeks ago. She also told the court that between 2014 and 2015, Ihsan Perdana received a total of 123 million ringgit from SRC and its subsidiary Gandingan Mentari. That's 20 million ringgit from SRC and 103 million from Gandingan Mentari. Another 20 million was credited from an unknown source, putting the total amount received by Ihsan Perdana to 143 million ringgit. Aisha added that she doesn't know how Ihsan Perdana was linked to SRC or Gandingan Mentari, but Ihsan Perdana was funded by 1MDB and Yayasan Rakyat Satu Malaysia. Aisha also confirmed that 118 million ringgit was transferred out from Ihsan Perdana to various parties.
Next on the stand was Aisha's former boss, Ihsan Perdana's managing director, Dr. Shamsul Anwar Sulaiman. Dr. Shamsul identified himself as an UMNO member and a medical doctor who worked with the government from 1989 to 1997 before opening a private clinic. He stopped practicing medicine in 2008, turning his attention instead towards CSR projects and other jobs. He said that he had known Najib for decades, as he is an, quote, UMNO man, unquote, and had been elected personally by Najib as a director in 1MDB's CSR department. Ravin will tell you more.
Dr. Shamsul spoke clearly and at a steady pace, like a school teacher. When asked to identify Najib, he looked at the former Prime Minister and nodded respectfully. Najib did not react. He told the court that 1MDB's board of directors had put him in charge of setting up a shell company to carry out the former's CSR initiatives. He said that he and one Abdul Aziz Ismail had signed on as Ihsan Perdana's shareholders and directors. Ihsan Perdana had 2 shares worth 2 ringgit each and 20 staff. Dr. Shamsul said the company received a 40 million ringgit grant from 1MDB, out of which 5 million ringgit was used for operational costs. The company had 3 Affin Bank accounts, the main account, one for operating costs, and one more for CSR financing purposes. He and Abdul Aziz were signatories for all 3 accounts. The court then took a 30-minute break.
During the break, Najib wasted no time in posting a tweet sarcastically calling a news report on the drop in ringgit value amid slow GDP growth as, quote, fake news, unquote. This was in reference to a statement made yesterday by Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who had discredited claims that global investors were losing interest in Malaysia. Dr. Mahathir had also warned the media against publishing false news. Najib was late to return after the break, and the court waited a few minutes before the former premier walked in with his aides. A few more questions from the prosecution, and then Najib's lead counsel, Shafi Abdullah, began cross-examining the witness. Dr. Shamsul, who was calm and collected before, lost his composure and started stammering when Shafi began questioning him. The lawyer had to tell him to calm down and breathe and just answer his questions. The most striking thing to come out of the doctor's testimony was that had he known the AmBank accounts belonged to Najib, he wouldn't have allowed the transfer to happen. At 3:40 p.m., Shafi informed the judge that he was about to go into the, quote, detailed part, unquote, of his cross-examination and asked to continue at the next trial date. The judge agreed and the court adjourned. Trial will continue on May 28th, Tuesday. This podcast is produced, written and mixed by Revati Subramaniam, Yap Pik Kwan, Yvonne Lim and Ravin Palanisamy. Additional reporting by Timothy Acharya. I'm Patrick Teo.